I've been asked several times, especially recently, if I could go over the different sizes and shapes that my shop offers of cloth pads. So let's start with our standard shape. This stack here is all our standard shape pads. They start in the smallest size, being an 8-inch, and they span all the way to 20 inches, skipping the odd numbers in between. So you have 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. You'll notice that on our standard shape pads, the wings are very centralized, so you have the same amount of distance on the top and bottom in comparison to where the wings are placed. In my shop, we have 3 different absorbency levels in our typical pads. That would be our moderates being the lowest, heavies being in the middle, and supers at the heaviest absorbency level. Now this does not include the gusher pads that we also offer from time to time. You can get a moderate absorbency in these 3 sizes, 8 inches, 10 inches, and 12 inches. After the moderate absorbency is our heavy absorbency, and those are available in our size 12s and 14s. Finally, we have the super absorbencies, which are available in our 16, 18, and 20-inch pads. And just as a quick size comparison between our longest and our shortest pads, while this may seem extreme to have a 20-inch pad, there are plenty of individuals who would really benefit from having all of this coverage. I know, myself included, being an endometriosis sufferer, this was something I could not find in a disposable, so having this option in a cloth pad has been amazing. Now we'll take a quick look at our asymmetrical pads. So an asymmetrical pad simply means that the wing placement allows for a shorter distance and a longer distance on either side. So you can wear these with the shorter distance towards the front and the length in the back, or if you're someone who's a front bleeder, just simply flip it around. It doesn't matter. Sometimes the prints might end up upside down if it is a directional print, but really at the end of the day, you need the coverage more than you need the pretty print, so if you need to flip it, flip it. Our asymmetrical pads start at 10 inches, so our standard pads start at 8 inches, but with an 8-inch being as tiny as it is, it would be incredibly difficult to really provide much of a directional pad in 8 inches. So these start at 10, and they run all the way up to 18. I am working on adding a 20-inch, but as it stands in the ready-to-ship options, they go from 10 to 18 inches. The absorbencies follow the exact same pattern as the standard shapes, with 10s and 12s being our moderate absorbencies, and then 12 and 14 being heavy absorbencies, and then 16 and 18 being our super absorbencies. Now let's take a look at the standard pad and an asymmetrical pad side by side so you can really see where the length difference would be. So on this one, it's not super drastic, there's just a slight difference in the wing placement. This becomes far more noticeable the longer the length that you receive. This is our 12-inch. This is a 14-inch. This is a 16-inch. And the 18-inch. So here again, you can see the definite difference in the wing placement from the standard versus the asymmetrical. I was going to grab a 16-inch flare, which is another shape that we have, but I don't have any currently as a ready to ship. So I'm just going to put my template in here so you can see the shape. So when I compare it with the asymmetrical, the wings are pretty much the same placement, but you have much more flare for coverage here in the bottom. And again, this one can be flipped so that you have that extra coverage and flare to the front. And in comparison with our standard 16, again, you can see the wing placement difference and the extra coverage that you have here in the back end. And lastly, we have our liners. We are offering 2 different styles. This is our standard liners, and this is our trim fit liners. They come in sizes 8, 10, and 12. The absorbency on these is exactly the same. It's really just the shape that's different. They're both made with a topper, a backer, and then a thin layer of cotton in between to provide just a tiny bit of absorption. If you're someone who really enjoys the shape of our standard pads, the standard liner is probably the one you're going to be more drawn to. However, we do also have the trim fits, and while the absorbency is the same, this one tends to provide a little bit less bulk in the gusset of the underwear, and the reason for that is the wings, while it's really hard to see because it's black on black, the wings are sewn on here at the back as a separate piece, whereas on our standard panty liners, the wings are all one piece here that then gets wrapped around. So you have the multiple layers, 3 different layers that's going to wrap around the gusset on either side. This one only has the one thin layer that's going to wrap around. The last style of pad is a gusher pad. I don't have any currently available in ready to ship, so I had to pull one from my own personal stash. So the big difference that you're going to notice is this has slashes in the top layers of the pad. The purpose for that is for people who have very heavy, clotty, or gushy flows. Instead of having all of that material, especially things like clots, sitting on the top surface and pressed between you and the pad, that can be very uncomfortable. So these slashes allow for those cloths to have a place to kind of slip into and be tucked away and pulled away so you're not just sitting there with a warm slug against your skin. I know this was a very long video, but it was asked of me numerous times to share the different sizes, styles, absorbencies, and there's a lot to cover when you make as many different sizes and styles as some pad makers like myself do. So I hope that kind of helped and provided a little bit more insight and helped gear you in the direction of what might suit you best.